Hello, good evening. It's News 360 coming to you live from the News Hub here at Adesawe Kanda. I am Portia Gabo.
And I am Martin Asiedu Data. These are the headlines for the next 1 hour.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
Asantehene Otumfuo-Seitu II presents Bawku Peace Mediation Report to President John Mahama, clarifying it is not a verdict but a roadmap to lasting peace.
And also coming up tonight, Bandai Parliamentary election rerun now put on ice as Supreme Court intervenes to order a suspension of preparatory processes.
Later in the bulletin, drivers in the capital city are pleased by signs of a drop in fuel prices.
Coming up in business news, Bank of Ghana warns banks of tougher enforcement as new risk rules follow sector's fragile recovery.
And on the international front, French court sentences ex-DRC rebel and politician to 30 years in jail.
We have details of all these stories and many more coming up in the next 1 hour. Do stay with us.
We're going to the big one, which happened a few minutes ago, having to do with the Asantehene Otumfuo-Seitu II, who has recommended the strict enforcement of Ghana's existing laws, recognizing Asigri Abugrago Azoka II as the lawful Bawku Naba as the most critical step toward restoring lasting peace in Bawku and the wider Kusasi traditional area. In his mediation report on the protracted Bawku conflict, as read during a presentation to government at the Jubilee House, the Otumfuo stated that no chief or traditional authority stands above the Constitution and the decisions of the courts, stressing that the government must uphold laws duly enacted and affirmed by the Supreme Court until they are lawfully changed or reviewed.
The Asantehene's recommendation followed extensive engagement with the Nairi of Mampurugu Nairi, Nabo Hagumba Mahami Abdullahi Sheriga the Bawku Naba, and other traditional leaders as part of efforts to find an amicable and sustainable resolution to years of violence between Kusasis and Mamprisi groups. The Otumfuo noted that the legal position on the Bawku chieftaincy has been settled through PNDC Law 75 and the 1992 Constitution, subsequent to Supreme Court rulings which collectively recognize the Bawku Naba as the head chief with jurisdiction over the Kusasi traditional area. He observed that attempts to challenge his position have been closed by the court, while acknowledging the historical ties of Mampurugu Kingdom to lands in the Bawku area. The Asantehene said the present legal realities make it untenable to pursue arrangements that contradict settled law, particularly regarding claims to the Bawku skin.
Bawku was mentioned in the proposed terms of settlement of the Nairi as one of the towns that the Mamprisi wanted to be given to the Nairi. Unfortunately, the law as it stands now makes Asigri Abugrago Azoka the lawful chief of Bawku, and so it is impossible legally to do any such thing in this mediation exercise. On the question of Bawku town, I have taken the position that the established tradition since 1931 thereabout is that the person who is Bawku Naba has the entire Kusasi area.
The Asantehene, however, maintained that any concession must align with the law and respect existing legal authority.
By law and the declarations of the Supreme Court of Ghana, Asigri Abugrago Azoka is the Bawku Naba, and there cannot be any rival residing in Bawku claiming otherwise. I have impressed upon my brother the Nairi to accept that recognition by law in appreciation of the enduring brotherhood that has existed between our two kingdoms in order to ensure lasting peace and eliminate the national and international security threats that my brother himself is so concerned about. I have been candid with my brother, the Nairi, that the purported enskinment of Mr. Seydou Abagari as Bokunaba cannot stand.
He further warned that failure to enforce the lawful status of the Bokunaba continues to fuel insecurity in the area, describing the conflict as a growing security concern. The president, Mahama, on his side, says his government will see to a full implementation of the recommendations.
Teachers refuse to be posted there, doctors refuse to be posted there, civil servants are leaving. We're doing national service postings, and we have suspended posting national servicemen and women to Bawku because we cannot guarantee their safety. And so I'm pleased that Otumfuo's mediation has come to an end and that he has presented a report, and I can assure him that government would look at this report, and within the next 24 hours, government will issue a statement.
It's been a long time coming. At least we are in the very final stages of ensuring that the peace plan is rolled out in Bawku. Let's get some security perspectives on this. Dr. Victor Doke is a security analyst and lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center. A very good evening to you. Thank you for your time, Doc. Okay, so we are hoping to get a clear connection to Dr. Victor Doke. But amongst some of the key things that the Otumfuo touched on had to do with the fact that it takes a collective effort if we actually want peace to return to Bawku, and also touched on the fact that both sides have agreed to this peace plan, and like you heard the president indicate, within the next 24 hours, a statement will be released. It is the expectation of almost every one of us that the statement from the office of the president will clearly outline the rollout plan and how the peace process will look like. And it was also instructive to note that at that presentation of the report at the Jubilee House, you had traditional leaders, you had heads of the security agencies, you had religious leaders there as well as even some political actors. So it looks as though all the key stakeholders needed to ensure there is peace in Bawku were there to ensure that they all heard what exactly the strategy of returning peace to Bawku was. So we'll try and see if we can get a clearer connection to Dr. Victor Doke and on this, and then we would put some of these questions to him. And it's like I indicated, it's been a long time coming. For decades, there have been quite some instability in and around Bawku. So I'm told that we do have Dr. Victor Doke. Now, Doc, good evening. Thank you for joining us on TV3. All right, unfortunately, we do not have that connection. So we are shifting our attention to some other stories. We'll definitely come back to this. So
the Bandai election rerun, and Director of Elections of the New Patriotic Party, Evans Nimako, is hopeful that the Electoral Commission will adhere to the Supreme Court order to suspend the rerun of the Bandai parliamentary elections. Earlier, the Apex Court ordered the electoral body to put on hold all preparations after lawyers of Matthew Nyendam prayed the court for other means to serve notice on the NDC parliamentary candidate.
Member of Parliament Matthew Nyendam is asking the Supreme Court to quash the Tamale High Court decision which ordered the Electoral Commission to rerun the elections following a petition filed by NDC's parliamentary candidate Daniel Insala Wakbao. His lawyers had argued that the High Court wrongly assumed jurisdiction in the election petition. During proceedings on Tuesday, December 16, lawyers for the Bandai Member of Parliament, led by Gary Nemakon, notified the court that attempts at serving the court processes on Daniel Insala Wakbao were unsuccessful. He noted that the NDC candidate had essentially evaded service. Nemakon therefore moved a motion for substituted service to enable them to properly serve Daniel Wakbao the court document. Before ruling on the matter, however, the 5-member panel of justices presided over by Justice Gabriel Scott Pomang chastised the Electoral Commission for failing to turn up in court. After listening to the submission of lawyers of the Bandai MP, the Supreme Court ordered the Electoral Commission to suspend preparations toward the rerun of the Bandai elections. The Apex Court further ordered that the processes be posted at the residence of the NDC candidates. The processes are also to be posted on the notice board of the High Court in Tamale, the notice board of the District Court in Bandai, and via his WhatsApp number. The notices, the bench added, are to remain for 7 days and will be deemed to have been served after the period. NPP Director of Elections, Evans Nimako, commended the Supreme Court for the decision.
We can have a situation where this judgment has been given, it is being contested, and other interested parties will run so fast and not allow the process to go to its conclusion. That for me is not fair. And so what the Supreme Court has given today will send a signal to all those who thought that they can have their way. It is important that we allow the law to rule.
Deputy Director of Elections and IT for the National Democratic Congress, Rashid Tanko Computer, says the party respects the Supreme Court's decision.
We are law-abiding citizens as a political party. What we do know is that the Supreme Court only suspends the rerun. The Supreme Court has not cancelled the rerun. They only suspend that. Yes, my opponents have only suspended their defeat. In fact, it has been suspended. The has been suspended. It has not been cancelled.
With the orders of the Apex Courts, it is expected that the Electoral Commission will put a hold on the Bandai rerun, which was slated for December 30. Now, what this means is that the case will be back here at the Supreme Court on January 13, where the substantive matter of the applicants praying the Apex Court to quash the decision of the Tamale High Court regarding the rerun will be heard. We'll keep tabs on this closely and bring you updates as and when. Lodi Dwasari, TV3 News, Accra.
Meanwhile, residents of Bandai are split over the Supreme Court's decision to suspend the elections.
If they started fighting and killing themselves, then what have you benefited? You're going to be an MP over who, or a representative over who?
Yeah, I'm happy for that because it will bring us changes and other things. It will bring competition between both parties. That will show that whether you really won or you didn't win. So this one is an opportunity again to us. The poll is already done. If only we were able to vote for NDC, these 4 years we have to see to also get changes in the town because your mama is working. And NDC, if we're able to work for NDC again, it also work then bring proper. And if he has suspended it or not, we say must, we need to vote. And the vote is the final judge. That will show whether he won or he didn't win. So that what matters right now is that the judge cannot decide for Bandai.
Right, so we are taking a step back to our earlier story having to do with the Otumfuo-led mediation report that was presented a few minutes ago, probably just under an hour, to President John Mahama. And you'd recall a number of issues were raised by the Otumfuo and their recommendations, which the President says they will adhere to strictly. Let's go and speak to Dr. Victor Doke, who is the security analyst and a lecturer at the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping and Training Center. Doc, good evening. Thank you for your time.
Hello, Martin. Good evening to you.
Great. To start with, the Otumfuo was very categorical in naming who the current paramount chief of the Kusasi traditional area and the Bawku Naba is. And he says it is the Asigri Abugrago Azoka. Now, how important is this recognition to the peace process?
Well, thank you very much. I think in taking the fact that the current Kusasi chief is a rightful owner settles a lot with regards to not only the contestation, but also when you talk about the long-term peace process and then solidifying the gains that have been, talked with regards to the mediations and then what is supposed to come next. The two agreeing and especially working together to see that whatever other recommendation.
Right. And so, I mean, we all await to see what the specifics will be in the president's statement. But can you help us with what expectations you have as a security analyst in the peace process plan? What do you think should be in there to ensure that the recommendations are actually adhered to and rolled out in a way that both sides of the divide can agree to? Again, we seem to have a challenge with that connection to Dr. Victor Doke, but definitely on News at 10, they will be delving deeper into what the Otumfuo has presented to the President as regards the Bawku Peace Program. We're staying on issues of, well, let's go to the courts now, because the Chief Justice has found that a petition seeking the removal of the Supreme Court Justice Emmanuel Yoni Kolendi does not disclose a prima facie case. This was after President John Mahama forwarded the petition to the Chief Justice in accordance with Article 146 of the Constitution. The outcome was communicated by the Minister for Government Communications, Felix Kwachiofosu, on Tuesday, the 16th of December. I will walk you through some of the specifics captured in that statement. So it says, amongst other things, that in the matter of a petition against the Supreme Court Justice Emmanuel Yoni Kolendi, the Chief Justice has determined that the petition does not disclose a prima facie case in line with Article 146 of the Constitution. The President forwarded the petition to the Chief Justice's assessment and has since communicated the Chief Justice's determination to the petitioner. The final outcome clearly then tells us that Justice Yoni Kolendi, whom a petitioner was seeking that he be removed, that will not happen.
Let's now go to Parliament, where the minority is calling on President John Mahama to consider a first ministerial reshuffle. This follows concerns raised over the absence of the Minister of State in charge of public sector reforms and the Minister of Food and Agriculture to answer questions relating to their sectors. Speaking on the floor of Parliament, the minority chief whip, Frank Anodompre, says members of the majority caucus who are eager to serve the state must be given the opportunity to do so.
The question advertised in the name of the Minister in charge of public sector reforms. Been on the order people for a very long time. Very, very long time. So we have to take it, because we'll be rising on Friday. We have to take this question. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem. Besides, front bench, Minister for Agri just wrote to us. I was just given a copy that he cannot come. That's fine. Eric has been a very dutiful person. I won't begrudge him. But his deputy must be here. The president must be watching. The first reshuffle must happen. So that they are Honorable Van der Poel, for instance. He is waiting. He has been lacing his shoe for a very long time. The first reshuffle must happen. Leader, tell the president, the ministers who are not ready to do public business, the president must reshuffle them. Honorable Zuela is ready. Honorable Sasu, for instance, he has been suffering for long. He's all waiting.
More news this evening. Drivers across the country are welcoming a modest but timely reduction in the fuel prices, which takes effect from today, offering some relief at the pumps. Judith Brown has more on this report.
Petrol prices are expected to between 1.64% and 3.89%, bringing the average pump price to about 12 cedis 90 pesos per litre. Diesel users will enjoy a slightly bigger cut, with prices projected to fall by as much as 4.59%, settling around 13 cedis 20 pesos per litre. For liquefied petroleum gas LPG, it is also set for a reduction of up to 2.16%, with a kilogram expected to sell at roughly 14 cedis. Many commercial drivers describe the reduction as small but encouraging.
Oh, I do manage the said I'm saying fuel no so. A buy and say the fuel cut have helped us.
but the prices of other goods have still not come down, so it feels like things are expensive.
Fuel
market is all right, and then
Fuel prices have indeed gone down, but goods are still high on the market, and that's our problem.
But it's kind of those now are using a better fuel, no, a boy, but
Government's reduction of fuel prices is good, but car dealers haven't reduced their prices, and that's our problem.
But
Industry analysts attributes the expected reduction largely to declining prices of finished petroleum products on the international market. Over the pricing period, petrol prices on the global market fell by 6.5%. Diesel recorded a sharp drop of 11.67%, while LPG prices eased slightly by 0.22%. For now, drivers remain cautiously optimistic, hoping the current downward adjustments mark the beginning of a more sustained period of fuel price stability. Judith Brown, TV3 News.
In more news tonight, Silver Star Auto Limited has introduced 2 new Peugeot models onto the Ghanaian market, unveiling the Peugeot 3008 and the Peugeot Landtrek pickup at a launch event in Accra. The company says the move is aimed at offering customers more options that combine comfort, performance and durability while meeting the demands of local driving conditions.
3, 2, 1 and 0!
Silver Star Auto has unveiled 2 new Peugeot models, the Peugeot 3008 and the Peugeot Landtrek pickup, marking the official introduction onto the Ghanaian market. Speaking at the launch, Managing Director of Silver Star Auto, Rabi Aga, said the new models reflect the company's commitment to meeting the needs of customers across the country.
The Peugeot is made for today's lifestyle. Bold design, smart technology, and comfort that fits city life, the work life, and most importantly, family life.
The sales and brand manager, Harriet Asafoje, added that the vehicles offer customers more options that combine comfort, performance, and durability and are well suited for local driving conditions.
This is not just a vehicle, this is totally new vehicle, reinvented, reimagined, and it stands out quite distinct from the competition. These are locally assembled and our vehicles are readily available for delivery.
A major highlight was a presentation on the key features.
The 3008 commands attention with its fastback inspired SUV design, the frameless grille, and the Peugeot full LED headlight, signaling its presence when it meets you on the road. Cheap fuel and also emission levels down.
Silver Star Auto says the launch forms part of its efforts to provide quality vehicle options for customers across Ghana.
Now, Absa Bank Ghana, in partnership with Visa, has launched Absa Pay, a first-of-its-kind payment solution that allows customers to make payment using only their mobile phones. The launch reinforces the shared commitment of Absa Bank and Visa to advance digital transformation in Ghana and beyond.
Absa Pay is fully integrated into the Absa mobile banking app and enables customers to tap their mobile phones on any NFC-enabled point-of-sale terminal to complete transactions. This innovation eliminates the need for cash or physical cards, offering a faster, safer, and more convenient payment experience. Speaking at the launch event in Accra, Mohammed Shamsuddin Ibrahim, product manager for payment cards at Absa Bank, said the initiative reflects the bank's focus on customer-centric innovation.
So now you don't need a card. All you need is your Android device, your phone, which is NFC enabled. So when you're going out, you don't need to carry your phone and a card. You just carry your phone and it has your card already in it. And when you go to a shop, just tap with your phone and you're done.
Also speaking at the event, Fabrice Conan, country manager for Visa Ghana, noted that Visa's goal is to make every payment seamless, secure, and effortless.
It's really about democratizing digital payment. It's about payment being so simple that everyone, irrespective of their social status, is able to pay the way they want to pay.
The unveiling ceremony held in Accra brought together financial service providers, fintech innovators, merchants, and key stakeholders from Ghana's digital ecosystem. The introduction of Absa Pay underscores the continued commitment of Absa Bank Ghana and Visa to driving financial inclusion and accelerating the adoption of digital payments across the country.
Thank you. Oh, come on.
In other news, Dosh Health Insurance, in partnership with Momo from MTN, has launched a new health insurance product aimed at expanding access to healthcare. First of its kind on the Momo app, it offers up to 9,000 cedis in annual medical coverage with premiums payable over 3 months, allowing customers to insure family and friends.
Dosh Health Insurance is a private health insurance company registered and regulated by the National Health Insurance Authority, linked with a large number of accredited health services providers across the country. They provide affordable and accessible healthcare coverage through all-inclusive plans under the Dosh Revolution ecosystem. Speaking at the launch, the CEO of Dosh Health Insurance, Frank Dadbui, explained what makes their policy outstanding.
Our product stretches from the lowest, that is the 365, to the highest, the maximum, 10,000. And the 10,000 gives you a total cover of 190,000. Let's say in some covers are limited to the age of 60. We've gone beyond this age of 60. We are including the pre-existing condition in our cover for a fee. So no one is actually excluded.
The Chief Product and Services Officer, Mobile Money Limited, Sylvia Otuo Ichampong, highlighted the motivation behind the partnership.
We manage the app maintenance, being able to support. Usually when people find services on the app, they don't know Dosh, but they know MTN, they know mobile money. So our call center also comes in to provide the needed support to ensure that customers are properly served. So apart from providing the technology, is the support in maintaining the services on the app.
The event took place at the Mervyn Pick Ambassador Hotel, Accra, with representatives from the Ghana Health Service, National Health Insurance Authority, and health service providers.
Partnership with Momo by MTN. It's a game.
Still watching News 360 on TV3. Do stay with us. Business, sports, and entertainment are all coming up.
And hello there, good evening and welcome to the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obudu. Now, the Bank of Ghana says it will not relax supervision of the banking sector despite signs of recovery, warning that stability remains fragile. Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama delivered the caution at an engagement with heads of banks in Accra, outlining the next phase of regulatory reforms.
According to the governor, banks have recorded improved liquidity, stronger capital positions, and a return to profitability after years of stress. However, he stressed that asset quality challenges persist and said the central bank will remain firm where risks threaten the stability of the financial system.
The Bank of Ghana will continue to work closely with the industry to safeguard stability and support sustainable credit growth. So looking ahead, the Bank of Ghana will consolidate regulatory gains through strict enforcement. And let me emphasize that, strict enforcement.
Dr. Johnson Isiama said the recovery in the banking sector must translate into responsible lending to the real economy. He therefore urged banks to expand credit to the private sector, especially the small and medium-sized enterprises.
We therefore call on banks to support the real sector, to expand credit to productive enterprises, especially the SMEs, and drive innovation that enhances access and inclusion while managing risk.
Now, Ghana is losing hundreds of millions of dollars each year to beverage imports, and the Chamber of Agribusiness says the government's 20% excise duty on locally produced natural fruit juices is making the situation worse. This report has the rest of the story.
Ghana spends between $350 and $450 million annually importing beverage concentrates and powdered drinks. The Chamber of Agribusiness says much of that money could be saved if natural fruit juice processors were not being held back by a 20% excise duty. It argues the tax is forcing factories to operate at less than half capacity, reducing demand for fruits and putting more than 120,000 potential jobs at risk.
We have actually lost quite a number of our members' businesses due to that 20%. And also, that 20% is also increasing post-harvest losses at the farm gate, in that the more you process, the more tax or the 20% you pay.
The chamber says the tax undermines efforts to industrialize agriculture, stabilize the city, and build a 24-hour economy.
Create more jobs at the farm gate, create more jobs at the factory, and making sure that Ghana will get revenue, because we will be able to export some of our fruit juice, which already some of our members in the industry are already doing. They send fruits to Europe and several other places globally.
Government is yet to respond, but industry players say the future of Ghana's agro-processing sector and thousands of jobs may depend on how quickly the policy is reviewed.
Away from that, government has been urged to leverage the significant recent macroeconomic gains to ensure sustained long-term economic growth. This call comes from the Institute of Chartered Economists, Ghana.
Chief Economist at the Institute of Chartered Economics Ghana, ISEG, Gideon Emisa, highlighted the current favorable economic indicators that represent a significant turnaround, with inflation at 6.3%, Bank of Ghana's policy rate currently stands at 18%, and the cedi has shown remarkable stability and appreciation, gaining approximately 32% as of end November 2025.
So far, the performance of the economy has been impressive over the year. Well, you look at the key indicators with the various key sectors, they all look promising. We're looking at the real sector. You can see that the key indicators like the GDP and the inflation are all looking good. But the various sectors, the monetary and the physicals, as well as the international, are all looking favorable.
The chief economist at ISEG stressed that These achievements, including falling inflation and strong currency performance, provide a critical window of opportunity. He advised government to implement structural policies that solidify these short-term gains into lasting prosperity, thereby safeguarding the economy against future external shocks.
Moving forward, we would encourage government to leverage on the confidence in the economy, i.e. household and businesses, with investors have so much confidence in the economy, and the government will have to leverage on it, basically through communication and the push of the government, getting feedback from the people. I think that with that leverage, the gains we are seeing can be sustained.
We'll bring you updates now from the currency and the commodities market. And that'll be all for the business segment here on News 360. I am Michael Obodu. Up next, the sports.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360 with me, Oreku Ampofo. Ghana's Black Galaxies lost to Bafana Bafana of South Africa by a lone goal in the pre-tournament friendly ahead of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations. Kassim Mingo Kansas men held their own very well in the first half, holding the host to a goalless stalemate at the Dobsonville Stadium in Soweto, South Africa. However, Hugo Bruce's side grew confident after recess, dictating play and building up nicely just 10 minutes into the second half, and that dominance was duly rewarded 2 minutes later despite a strong defensive display by Ghana's backline. It was Mbule who wasted no time before striking from long range past Lawrence Osei to give South Africa the lead in the 57th minute. Remember that Ghana would not be at the Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco after failing to win a single game during the qualifiers. Meanwhile, South Africa are in Group B alongside Angola, Egypt, and Zimbabwe. Let's now hear from the coaches from the match. That's Ghana's head coach, Kassim Mingo, who was proud of his side's performance despite the defeat, and Hugo Bruce, who also expressed his satisfaction with the win for South Africa against the Black Galaxies.
Very, very, very bright, very, very, but there's more room for improvement. As time goes on, I think when we get more time in camping together, I think they can do better than this. Very, very good, very solid, very tactically. So we saw them, we watched some of their clips. So we were able to block the moves that they've been doing. That's why they couldn't play much. You were expecting a higher performance from them, but we neutralized all their tactics that they've been using. We watched their clips. So we neutralized that thing. We block the way they play free flowing, and to the wings they cross, we pace, we block all. So we say today they couldn't do whatever. The goal they scored was a gifted goal. Our midfielder made a mistake and they robbed him of the ball.
Let's say that I'm very happy with the result, that we won the game, but I think we can much better than today. We didn't really play a very good game. There was not so much movement in the team, what we are used to. The passing was not good, so there is still a little bit work to be really on those highest levels for next week.
Is there an update on Apollos as well? We saw maybe some players also a bit reluctant to get into the challenges because of a major tournament like the AFCON.
Yeah, but maybe that's something that plays in the head also, that next week AFCON starts, and that players are a little bit afraid to be injured or whatever. But again, I expected a little bit more from my team today, a better game, but yes, that can happen. And I remember 2 years ago it was terrible also against Lesotho, the last game we played, so that gives us hope.
Now, before we go, Paris Saint-Germain and France forward Ousmane Dembele has been named as the Men's Player of the Year at the FIFA Best Awards, which just took place tonight. The 28-year-old, who won the Ballon d'Or back in September, picked up the FIFA award in Qatar on Tuesday after helping PSG to 4 trophies in the 2024-2025 season. After helping PSG to a first Premier League triumph, Dembele beat Barcelona's Lamine Yamal and Real Madrid's Kylian Mbappe to the prestigious individual award. And there you have it, the winners from the FIFA Best Awards. These were some of the names. As you mentioned, Dembele winning that. And then Aitana Bonmati also winning the Women's Player of the Year, similar to what we saw at the Ballon d'Or. Luis Enrique winning Coach of the Year. And then we do have the Puskás Award going to Independente's player, that's Santiago Montiel. Gianluigi Donnarumma, who is now in Manchester City, won the award for his performances with Paris Saint-Germain. Or you can get some more updates on our social media handles at 3Sports. My name is Oreku Ampofo.
Have some entertainment tidbits.
Honorable Ablaji Fagomashi, Minister for Tourism, Culture and Creative Arts, has opened 2 exhibitions at the Dekan Center under the theme Preserving Ghana, the Living Archives of a Nation. She described the works as love made visible and stressed the importance of preservation, digitization and creative documentation in protecting Ghana's national identity. The event highlighted Dekan's archival partnership with the Ghana Armed Forces, which has digitized millions of records, and emphasized the need to reconnect Ghanaian youth with their cultural heritage. Sierra Leonean-born Ghanaian-based singer Dove Nicole has officially released her debut self-titled EP, Dove Nicole. The 7-track project blends cross-cultural sounds with a deeply personal narrative, introducing Dove Nicole as an emerging force on the global music scene.
Very versatile artist. I do a lot of sounds, a lot of different genres. I love to try different things. And first of all, when I started trying different sounds, the intention was to find my sound. And I realized that, oh wow, actually I don't have a sound, because whatever I sing sounds good. So it's literally my voice that is the sound. But if I need to put myself in a box, then I would say I'm more alternative, because I tend to do more, alternative stuff. And
with a smooth fusion of soulful R&B and vibrant Afrofusion rhythms, the EP showcases her unique sound and ability to bridge genres and cultures. Dove Nicole says the project reflects her journey of self-discovery and spiritual growth, embracing both her softness and inner fire.
I expect growth, I expect visibility, I expect, getting the world to see a new sound and a new brand identity that they've never really experienced before, and I want people to see how seriously I take my artistry and my creativity, and just give the world something to look forward to. I'm here to heal, to inspire, and to motivate.
In international news this evening, a French court has sentenced a former rebel leader and politician from the Democratic Republic of Congo to 30 years in jail after finding him guilty of complicity in crimes against humanity more than 2 decades ago. Roger Lumbala headed a rebel movement backed by the neighboring Uganda, accused of committing atrocities during a period known as the Second Congo War. The judge said the 67-year-old was found guilty of ordering or aiding and abetting torture and inhumane crimes, summary executions, rape constituting torture, sexual slavery, forced labor, and theft. And that's our package for this evening. Thank you so much for watching. I am Martin Esiedodate.
And I am Portia Gabodu. Join Beatrice Edu for Agenda at 9 p.m. as well as with Alfredo Cancer at 10 p.m. for Ghana Tonight. Good evening.